Well, welcome to singing school. And enjoy it again. Is there any prayer requests anyone would have before we open up in prayer? Let's go ahead and bow our heads. Dear Father, we praise you for the opportunity to gather again, to see one another's faces and to be filled with courage for the days ahead if Jesus doesn't come back real soon. Lord, thank you for the brothers and sisters. Thank you for the first day of the week when we gather together. Lord, we ask your blessing on us, on our fellowship together. Dear Father, that we would be a help to some struggling soul as we go through this life. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to sing to the old people sometimes. Give us the desire to cheer up those who are suffering, who are discouraged. God, we ask, be with us today. Give us a song. Bless Brother David with the message to all brothers and sisters. In Jesus' name. Okay. Are you practicing? Practicing the do, re, mi. I know there's some of you still that struggle with the notes. We can tell it when we try to learn a new hymn or one that we don't sing all the time. We have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. To practice, just take those notes. I want you to just, at a glance, know what they are. What does a re look like? Let's say, Martina, what's a re look like?
A half circle.
Kind of, yeah, teacup thing. Okay. What's a fa look like?
Big flag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very good. So get that down pat. Just practice it. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that you know just how it sounds in relation to the do, our home tones. Do the scale, the major diatonic scale. And, let's do it right now. And I'm going to just let you do it. Okay? Keep on practicing. That's what will make your singing to the point where you don't have to have the person beside you leading you. You're going to correct them. I had one of the big boys this week say, "You messed me up," turning to his neighbor when we were singing. And he should have corrected his neighbor. That's what you can do when you learn that scale real well. Just practice and practice. Don't get the idea. You never entertain the idea that I'll never be able to sing. It's not my strong point. I just, my friends, some of them have that gift. I have a gift in other areas. Don't ever entertain that. You can sing. And you can be on tune. You just have to listen and listen. If you need to, ask your parents for next birthday gift, one of these, or just have one. And it'd be good for every family to have one. Just play with this and practice with that. You can practice your half steps with that. Remember? that there we go. Do, re, do, di, re, like that. But just practice and get that. Don't you be satisfied with saying, I can't do it very well. Don't. Okay, what else? Memorize hymns. You sing them through the day, these hymns, a hymn you like, and memorize it so the next time we don't have our books, we're caught without books. Here we are just like crutches, taking our books along to Christmas Carol and taking to the old people's home and just, memorize them. And those things will go through your mind. In the night when you're scared, you wake up, you're kind of afraid, and you feel like going over to Daddy and Mother, and you're just kind of scared, and just a hymn will come to your mind. Rest. Many times it's helped me. A hymn. Let that melody go through your mind. God leads his dear children in shady green pastures. Things like that. I remember that hymn, In Shady Green Pastures. One of the first times I realized that there are adults around me, big people, that know these hymns without looking at the words. It was when Grandpa Rohr would, he would, like before prayer or something, he would just, let's sing In Shady Green Pastures, he would say, and start out with that hymn. And I remember my aunts just rattling off those words, and they don't have a book. They got it memorized. That's a blessing. Okay, let's get to singing here. Number 2, Jesus Thou Mighty Lord. Thou take it. Just take it. There you go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Get that bass out there, boys, and the tenor. Well, they're just drowning you out. What's diadem? Remember? Diadem. Crown, yes. Love is his diadem. What's next? 4. I love thy kingdom, Lord. Do you remember a verse in the Bible about beyond my highest joy I prize her heavenly ways? Can anybody recall that verse? Where that comes from? If I prefer not Jerusalem, that's the kingdom of heaven, the church, I believe. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy, what should happen to me? Did the psalmist say?
My right hand shall forget its cunning.
Yep, my right hand forget how to act, forget its cunning, and my what else? If I don't prefer it above my chief joy, let my right hand forget its cunning, but before that said, let my
Tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. I shouldn't even say anything. I don't have anything to say if that's not my chief joy. That's right. But later, it comes back to you while you're working or while you're trying to go to sleep. And It's just amazing as you think over it. Sure as thy truth shall last. You know, of course, God's truth just lasts. To Zion shall be given the brightest glories earth can yield. And then brighter bliss of heaven. Just a blessing to ponder the lofty thoughts here. Brother Kevin wrote something after we had a sad happening here in church about 5 years ago when a whole bunch of people left. Kevin wrote a little statement that if I had to choose between truth and love, I'd take truth. I'd take love because that's the truth. Say, I'd take love. If I had to choose between truth and love, I would choose love because that's the truth. Because that's the truth. What a blessing. 28. You like to sing when it's your turn? You like to jump in there when it's your turn? And hold when it's your turn as well? Let's do this. Like a shepherd, tender true. 28. Sopranos and altos, sopranos and tenors.
Like a shepherd, tender true, Jesus leads, daily finds us pastures new. Jesus leads, if the mirrors are rolled away, or the flock in danger feeds, He will wash and waste astray. Jesus leads, all along life's rugged road, Jesus leads, till we reach your blessed abode. Jesus leads, all the way before we strive, and we now the flock receive, safe into the fold of God. Jesus leads.
Sopranos, you're messing up. Let's do that. Let's try that again. He will watch them lest they stray. Jesus leads. You're following the tenors. Okay? Let's try it. Or you're following something. So let's keep on soprano. He will watch. He will watch them lest they stray. Jesus leads. Jesus leads. Do it one more time. He will watch them lest they stray. Jesus leads. Jesus leads. Got it? Let's try it. Third verse. verse again. And boys, I gotta hear more pounding from you. When it's your turn, you should be going, when we reach. Just get it out there, boys. When we, tenors. When we reach the Jordan's tide. Just get it out there. Do the third.
Maybe we need to put the boys on the front row.
Well, now that is an idea. Save yourselves. We have time for one more. Either. Oh, 57. This, the writer of the words here reminds me of what my cousin Wilbur would do when he's struggling with the garage door and it just won't. He applies a little Wilberforce. Okay. No, that was just a pseudonym, I think. Just they say it was probably just a pen name or a pseudonym, like Fanny Crosby. We sing quite a few of her hymns that don't even say Fanny Crosby. She put another name on it. I don't know if it's just so it wouldn't look like she just wrote them all. But put another name on there that she it's like a pen name, a second name, pseudonym. And her real name was it slips me now. But this was a nun, a Catholic nun that wrote this. And it was something like Palmright or something. It was a pretty common last name. So let's enjoy the prayer here. And let's pray it in our own hearts as we sing.
So, in season stay. Let me faithful, true, my grace, dear Lord, today. Let me smile to do my will, proud to obey. Help me to sacrifice myself gladly today. So tomorrow and its needs are due our praise. Still keep me, guide me, love me, Lord, through each day. God bless you.
For last week, we're supposed to give an example of someone who helped someone else. And in Mexico, there's this man whose name is Damian, and he helps this old man that's really poor, living in a little tent. He goes and gives him dog food to feed his pets dogs.
When Daddy had back surgery, the brothers from church came over and took firewood for us.
Marcus is kind to us by helping us learn to sing.
We're also supposed to do something this last week to help someone else, but we weren't supposed to tell about that. And I thought about how there's been lots of different times how young people that have real bad problems, grew up in unstable homes and stuff, they want help and they come here, but just like, for an example, like some of them, like Thomas this last time, they don't want the kind of help that they need. They don't know what they really need, and so some of them have actually taken the help and humbled themselves and got made into a better person, but some of them just have gone away because they didn't get just what they wanted.
This past week, Grandpa's visited us, and when they were here, Floyd washed their van. It was dirty, so that was a blessing. He just helped them out in that.
We're right now before bed. Daddy's reading us a story about this girl that grew up in a caravan where they'd go from fair to fair, and her father owned a big play, and they were a big, whatever call it, play deal, and she hadn't been taught anything about the Lord, and one time, but her mother did know some, but she never told her anything really, it seemed. And so one day a man came and gave her a little picture of a shepherd holding a lamb, and it had a verse underneath it, and that just that got her mother to talking with her and telling her about the Lord and stuff, and she learned a lot, and she ended up, she's getting better now in the story because she has the Bible to read and isn't just all by herself. She has something to rely on.
Thought about how one time, like a year and a half ago, we were down in Corpus Christi, and on our way back up, our fuel pump went out, and we called a few mechanics, and most of them were full, but this one, he set aside several things and took our van in and let us stay in his office all day while he got the fuel pump fixed. It was quite a blessing to us.
We have a neighbor, and often she needs help with her electric and stuff, and my dad goes over, and sometimes he has other things planned, but he goes and helps whatever she has a problem with.
Brother David goes and visits the people at the nursing homes and cheers them up and talks with them for a while. And they really look forward to that every week.
Oh, I thought about it. We were huddling after a day's work and figuring out who was gonna. It was right before everybody was gonna leave for Christmas, and well, we're figuring out who was gonna go help work on Olin's Lane because Olin was leaving to see his family, and I remember thinking, oh, I hope I don't have to go, work tomorrow because it's Saturday or Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. But another brother seemed okay, although he had projects to work on. He seemed okay with going. And I know that's paid work, but it seems like even if it's paid work, we're helping each other out, and working on a crew. It's all about helping each other out. And anyway, sometimes it's good to do things for other people, even though it seems like it's infringing on our time or whatever to do our projects. And I thought about the widow with 2 mites, how she threw it all into the treasury, and how often is it so hard for us to throw in just of our excess, of our excess time or resources. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
A couple weeks ago, Dad and Tim went to go help a neighbor cut wood, and he was just about out of wood, so they went and cut him, I don't know how many ricks, but they cut him a load of wood.
I thought about whenever there's a need or project that needs done, the church just gets together and works at it and gets it done. Or like a financial need that needs done, people just pitch in and get it done.
We work a lot of cows for a bunch of people, and there's a bunch of older people that we help for cows, and they can't do it by themselves. And instead of calling and asking or say, hey, can we get you in like next week or sometime, they call the day they got them caught, because they can never know when they get them caught, and so we just drop what we're doing and go help them get their cows worked.
I always had the same thoughts as Arthur. Whenever somebody needs help doing something, a couple weeks ago, the brothers went and helped somebody over by Mike's put a roof on a building that an old man and a boy couldn't do it, so the brothers went and helped them.